Do I believe in? That's a tricky question. I believe in many things, from the kindness of strangers to the unseen miracles ordinary people perform every day. I believe in the power of opening doors and petting dogs. I believe in art. However, I wouldn't be able to believe in any of those things if it weren't for my greatest belief. Oh, you want to know what that is? I guess I could tell you. I believe in being a Chanteclair. You see, as a freshman starting out in high school, I was a cynical, pessimistic, miserable sod of a child. I didn't have many friends, and I enjoyed it that way. Despite my caustic attitude, however, I still somehow found myself in the men's ensemble, the freshman boys' choir. At first I tried to resist the merriment that took place in that class. I sat far away from the other boys and would not speak unless spoken to. Yet it was impossible to ignore the light-hearted playfulness of our music and the good humor of my peers. Eventually, even I found my shell of malice to be cracking. Make no mistake, I was still as socially awkward as ever, but I was beginning to see the light. Then, in early December, the men's ensemble was recruited to help serve food at the annual magical dinner, an event where guests were greeted as lords and ladies, and a group put on a show reminiscent of a medieval feast. In this case, the hosts were the Chanteclairs, our school's chamber choir. I was standing about in a burlap sack that passed for peasant wear when bells echoed throughout the dining hall. Clear, beautiful handbells, pure of tone and rich with resonance. The mere memory of them still sends chills down my spine. And then in they walked, the Chanteclairs, resplendent in the waves of color that were their costumes. They entered in two files, boys and girls, led by their king and queen. Their faces were solemn, noble masks, yet their eyes danced with excitement. It was as if they had stepped out of the mists of time themselves. And then they sang, Veni, veni, Emmanuel, captivum solvet Israel. Words cannot capture the beauty they projected upon the hall. To this day, I have never heard a sound more beautiful than the music of that night. I vowed then and there that someday I would sing as a Chanteclair. And somebody must have been listening that night, for a week later I was pulled aside to be offered a recently vacated seat in that amazing group. I nearly didn't go to that first rehearsal. My hand was literally shaking as I struggled to find the strength to open the door to the choir room. I held no illusions about who I was. Awkward, soft-spoken, a cynic. I had no right to be there among such brilliant young men and women. Where did I find the audacity to think that I could be a Chanteclair? I expected at the least to be ignored by the upperclassmen. But oh, how wrong I was. They took me under their wing. We had movie nights, bonfires, ice skating sessions, and frisbee tournaments. We laughed and smiled and made memories beyond count. And we made music. Wonderful music. From the croonings of Frank Sinatra to the fiery compositions of Eric Whitacre. I had never been happier. It was among the Chanteclairs that I truly developed an appreciation for the beautiful things our world has to offer. Even other classes became more appealing to me. The wonders of science and mathematics presented themselves for the first time. The threads of history wove together to show me an astounding tapestry of human endeavor. The words of classic writers and poets came alive and pulled me into brilliant worlds utterly beyond my imagination. And people, oh, people, people went from being my bane to my fondest love. I would go on to make countless friends throughout my high school years in classes, musicals, and, of course, choir. My senior year, I donned a robe and crown and took my place at the head of the line as king of the magical dinner. To this day, I've never lost the fire that was entrusted to me by the exceptional kindness and warmth of those first Chanteclairs. It burns bright and hot within me, giving me courage and a sense of wonderment that I would never be able to possess otherwise. Just as the flame was a gift to me from people I love, it is also a promise back to them that I will spread its heat and light wherever I go. As long as I draw breath, the fires of the Chanteclairs will never go out. This, I believe,